Let me begin by congratulating Hannes Gissurarson, my good friend, on this great milestone in his life. Hannes is not getting any younger, neither am I. We're all getting older, but my hope and expectation is that his thinking, his ideas, and his writings will remain fresh, maybe even timeless. That is what we all hope for. I may disappoint some of the audience by letting you know that I'm not going to talk about the Icelandic fisheries management system at all. I was assigned a different assignment by Hannes. He wanted me to talk about how can fisheries be both profitable and sustainable. And I prepared a talk on that topic. Not a great talk, but certainly an attempt. So let me begin. First, it's a well-established economic result that free enterprise within the framework of the market system is generally economically highly efficient in the sense of producing the maximum amount of goods and services. If we want to be more formal, we can say that economic theory has proven that given perfect markets and a few non-demanding technical conditions, the market system will be what is called Pareto efficient. This means that it will not be possible to increase the well-being of any one person without reducing the well-being of some other person. Thus, the combination of free enterprise and markets provides the highest possible well-being given the prevailing physical, environmental, and technological constraints on production. It's important to realize that these economic efficiency properties include production over time. Free enterprise combined with market guidance allocates resources optimally over time in accordance with human time preferences as expressed by market discount rates and transmitted via financial markets. Contrary to what is often asserted, this includes conservation of natural resources and the appropriate concern for future generations in accordance with the actual preferences expressed by people. These dynamic properties of the market system include the sustainable use of renewable natural resources. It is simply good business to utilize these natural resources in a sustainable way and thus enjoy a permanent income stream rather than a temporary one. When it comes to non-renewable resources, we of course understand that they cannot be utilized sustainably in the sense of having the same level of use forever. However, for those resources, free enterprise combined with market guidance will nevertheless lead to the optimal utilization over time. A notable feature of such optimal utilization paths is that non-renewable resources will never be depleted. I repeat, never. This is accomplished by using these resources at an ever-diminishing rate over time. Individual users and producers will be induced to follow this path by the increasing price of the resources as they become increasingly scarce. Also, very, very importantly, faced with natural limitations and scarcity of resources, private enterprise, combined with the market system, will strongly encourage, first, innovations, secondly, technological progress, and thirdly, the development of substitutes to adjust to and cope with increased scarcity of both renewable and non-renewable resources. So these are good things. But we must realize that market guidance requires the existence of markets. For markets to exist, there must be sufficiently strong property rights. Without property rights, there will be no trade. There is someone on the front row that is almost laughing, I don't know why. Without trade, there can be no markets. Thus, property rights are necessary for the existence of markets and therefore market guidance. Unfortunately, many valuable things, including many natural resources, are not subject to sufficiently strong property rights. It follows that for those things there are no markets and therefore no market guidance. Examples of these natural resources are, for instance, the ozone layer, the atmosphere, stocks of wild animals, many water resources, some forests, and so on and so on. As a result, these resources, if they are scarce at all, will not be used in a collectively optimal manner. If they are individual beneficial, the use will be excessive. If they are harmful or detrimental in some way, like for instance vermin and parasites or disease-causing viruses, their stock size will not be sufficiently reduced by the market system. There are essentially two ways to deal with this. One is to resort to government control of the use of these resources. Generally speaking, government control of resource use is highly inefficient. The reasons are very well known: inappropriate incentives, rent-seeking behavior both within and without the government, and the absence of competitors or competitive pressures, because in all nations, governments are constitutional monopolies. The other way to deal with the problem of missing markets is to find ways to establish sufficiently strong property rights that will allow markets to operate and thus provide the proper guidance to private enterprise. If this can be accomplished, the outcome will be efficient use of the resources in question. One very important natural resource suffering from the absence of property rights is ocean fish stocks. With no property rights in fish stocks or harvests, fishes are thrown into mutually detrimental competition for catch from limited fish stocks. The outcome is excessive fishing effort, overinvestment in fishing capital, declining fish stocks, and little or no net economic surplus from the fishery, in spite of the underlying resources being capable of yielding high net economic surplus on a sustainable basis. The economic waste in global ocean fisheries due to this problem was assessed by the World Bank in 2012 to be about $85 billion annually at that price level in that year. To set that into some form of context, we could mention that in this year, the magnitude of the total development assistance from the industrialized nations to the underdeveloped nations of the world was about similar number, maybe slightly higher, about $100 billion in that year. For a very long time, governments of the world have attempted to deal with the fisheries problem. For this, they have employed the traditional government methods of direct controls, including fishing effort restrictions, capital controls, investment restrictions, closed fishing areas, fish size restrictions, gear restrictions, and so on and so forth. To make a very long story short, these methods have produced extremely poor results. They have not delivered any economic gain to either fishers or fish consumers. Usually, there have not been significant biological gains in terms of stock improvement either. On top of this, taxpayers have been forced to pay the costs of these inefficient government controls, costs which often amount to a significant fraction of the gross value of the fishery. More recently, there has been substantial advance in designing and introducing a new type of property rights in ocean fisheries. These are quantitative harvesting rights, generally referred to as individual transferable quotas, or ITQs. Properly designed and enforced, ITQs constitute strong property rights in the allowable harvest from fish stocks. As such, they provide effective market guidance toward efficient harvesting. If, moreover, ITQ holders are allowed to be instrumental in setting the total allowable catch, there is a good chance that the fish stocks will develop optimally over time. Over the past few decades, a great deal of experience about the impacts of ITQs has been accumulated. Over 30 major fishing nations in the world, accounting for well over a quarter of the global marine catch, have already adopted the system. In short, ITQs have proven a major success. Previously, excessive fishing effort has been reduced, fishing fleets have contracted, fish stocks have recovered, and the net economic surplus obtained from the fisheries has greatly increased. Under ITQs, fishermen have become affluent, and the communities in which they reside have bloomed. In this way, ITQs and the market guidance they provide have led to fisheries that are both profitable and sustainable. Thank you very much.